Welcome. Chronic neck problems, neck pain, headaches, limitation range of motion, a major epidemic. Everything we do affects our posture. The way we sit and look down and text and sleep and drive. The bottom line is things happen. Things break down. Things wear and tear. And there are things that we can do to help restore normal function, to help allow the body to repair and heal the way it's supposed to. In my last video that I've done about the atlas, please look at that video, particularly if you're having chronic problems in your neck or throughout your body. This particular technique is going to deal with the axis, the second vertebrae. The atlas is the top vertebrae in the neck. As I come close to the camera, you can see this top vertebrae right below the skull here. This top one is your atlas. This rotates side to side, allows our head, the majority of our motion and rotation, to turn like this. The vertebrae right below it has a spinous process. That's the first spinous process, which is back here. That's called our axis, the second bone in our neck. Very important neurologically. The bottom of the brainstem comes down to our second vertebrae. There's many different neurological pathways that's very complex that can cause many symptoms of head, neck, gland, arms, and anything into the body. Remember, in order for messages from the brain up in here to send messages down the spine, it has to travel through here first. If there is anything going on in here that's affecting those messages, then the rest of the body is not going to receive it. So this particular technique is going to be very subtle, very gentle, to help restore mobility, to help restore movement, and hopefully to help restore better function throughout your body. In order for bones to move, there has to be normal motion within the joint. There are many joints that are within the spine. If a joint is not moving correctly in one direction, that may affect the function or the symptom that you're experiencing right now. The purpose of this technique is to restore motion, to restore function, and hopefully, optimally, to restore better health. This technique, we're going to be using the pads of our index fingers as we contact that second vertebrae from behind. But in order to find that second vertebrae, let me just briefly explain the anatomy. If you touch below the back of the skull, you're going to feel a bump. And that bump is called the EOP, the external occipital protuberance. And if you look behind the skull here, underneath there is a bump right back in there. That's our EOP right back in there. So we come below, and as you keep going down, you're going to come into the first, go ahead and push down, you're going to come into the first vertebrae that's going to stick out the most. It's called the axis. The atlas, which is the first vertebrae, has a posterior arch. There's not a lot of bone sticking out behind it, but the first spinous process below is going to be your axis. That's going to be a real thick prominence that you're going to feel, and that's primarily where we're going to contact. So when we contact this bone, we're going to use our index fingers, we're going to come around the bone, and we're going to primarily contact the axis just like that. If you look at my fingers here, that's how it's going to look from behind. So as I contact behind my head, okay, you're going to use these two fingers, feel that EOP behind the skull come down. It kind of feels like an indentation. And as you come lower, okay, right in the middle, you can use one hand when you're feeling it, you're going to feel a real thick bone sticking out, okay? And the way to know that's the axis is when you go back and forth, it's going to move underneath your finger. That's the bone you want to contact. So you're going to take these two fingers, go on each side of the bone, okay, that spinous process. You're going to be on each side. So in other words, here's the spinous process. We're going to contact on both sides, on each side of the spinous process like this. Here's the spinous process in the middle, and this is how we should be contacting like that behind our head. So when you come down, you feel that bone, bring your head back and forth, you'll feel it move underneath your finger. That's how you know you're on the right bone. You're going to take the fingers, you're going to go on each side of it, and what you're going to do now is you're going to put pressure against the axis as you bring your head back. You're going to push pressure forward. Just a moderate amount of pressure pushing forward. And I want you to go back and forth 5 times, nice and slow. Good. Keep Keep pressure on that axis, and we're just guiding it as we put it through motion. Now I want you to turn your head to the left and go back as you turn your head to the left. Now we're putting it in a different plane, a different angle on the joint. Good, 5 times. Keep pressure on it. Good. And you're going to turn to the right, apply pressure on it, go back and forth 5 times. Good, keep pressure on that. You're going to feel a little movement, little pressure as you do it. Beautiful. And that's the technique. It's that subtle and that easy. But you'll notice after you do it, because I feel the change, there's a lot of neurological structures in there, it goes right to the brain, you're going to feel a little different. You're going to say, wow, my head feels lighter. It really will feel lighter. Now, the objective of this particular technique is to allow that mobility to become restored. That can be causing your headaches. These nerves underneath the skull go over the head behind the eyes. It affects the head. It affects the shoulders. It affects the muscles. It affects the entire body. This is a very vital part of our nervous system. And just by putting slight motion and mobility back into an area, you can experience miracles. I really hope that this helps take away a lot of your pain, gets your equilibrium better, makes you feel stronger, gives you more energy, more stability, better posture, because this is the integrity of your nervous system. I ask you to share this video with your friends, subscribe, so you can continue to receive more of the self-help videos for you and your family. And most important, make it a great day. I'm Dr. Alan Mandell.